Good evening and welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. All right, guys, welcome back. I want to do a recap here and we're going to rewind to last week. So it looked like that if debt and currency markets were not stabilized, that we were going to be going into a global currency crisis. Now, I believe over the weekend, the UN issued that warning to the Fed. And on Monday, Tuesday, bond yields come down, DXY comes down, stocks take off. And then throughout the later part of the week, all of that reversed. DXY goes back up, bond yields go back up, and stocks get hit. Now, I believe the S&P finished the week slightly positive, so just keep that in mind. And that's where we stand. Now, I want to repeat this again, and I challenge you to do this thought experiment on your own. The strengthening dollar, any more so than what it's already, the DXY has already gone up, going to cause a global currency crisis, and we might already be in the middle of a global currency crisis, and more on that here in a little bit. But I just don't see a scenario where, let's just say the DXY runs up to 120, 125, and it stays up there. I don't see a scenario where there's a global currency crisis that turns out bad for Bitcoin and crypto. I just don't see it. There's just not that many other options. So let's really think about this. All right. And guys, when I talk about, look at these charts and look at the percent lost to the dollar, the Canadian dollar versus the dollar. So just look at these 5 different currencies and look at the currency as it relates to the dollar over the last 6 months and then pull it out over the last 5 years. And what you're going to see is just bam, bam. And then you should actually calculate the percent loss to the dollar in that time period to get a perspective. But understand too, we're talking about, even if it's a 5 to 7% drop in a 6-month period to the dollar, that's a very big hit for those countries and those currencies and for their exchange rate. So just understand that. All right, DXY goes higher, kicks off a global currency crisis. So there's millions, hundreds of millions of people in different countries all around the world that are in a country that has an unstable currency that's rapidly losing value. And you have these options: cash, bonds, stocks, real estate, gold and silver, Bitcoin and crypto. So let's just go through all those. Cash out of the question. Now, this is removing the US from the conversation for a second. Even though most of you are in the US, many of you are not. So a global currency crisis where those are your options. All right. So cash is out. Bonds are probably out. If the currency is unstable in your country, buying a bunch of bonds is probably not going to be your go-to. Gold and silver, not easily accessible by everyone. And there's not enough physical out there for each and every person to hold a bunch of gold and silver, even though a lot of people will go to gold and silver, and I am a big fan of silver, and over time I will accumulate more. So cash, bonds, gold and silver, real estate. Not everybody has the amount of capital you would need to be able to make some type of real estate investment, right? But through tokenization, everything that will change moving forward. But the situation that many people are going to be in is that they have maybe $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, maybe $50,000. And they have nowhere to go in a country with a currency that's crashing against the dollar. So I don't see a situation like that as being a bearish situation for Bitcoin and crypto. Now, if that were to unfold, I think that they could drive the price of Bitcoin and crypto lower in the short term, but I just don't see how that could last for any length of time. There's just nowhere else to go, guys. If you really think about this and you really play this out in your head and look at the different options, you're talking about millions, hundreds of millions of people with nowhere to go, and Bitcoin and crypto being one of the most accessible and one of the best options for them. And download an app on their phone and then convert over into whatever, whether it be a stable coin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever alt. So for me, the way that I'm looking at this is it's a win-win from this point on. Yes, The XY going higher is bad for Bitcoin and crypto up until a certain point. In my opinion, once it crosses that threshold and it going higher kicks off a global currency crisis, it's no longer a bad situation for Bitcoin and crypto. Because then Bitcoin and crypto become the solution, or one of the solutions with very limited options, to the problem, which is currency instability and devaluation. I think I just made a pretty strong case for that, in my opinion, okay? Yes, they could manipulate the price down in the short term, but big picture, I just don't see it as a bad thing. So now, opposite, the XY comes lower, better environment for Bitcoin, crypto, and for equities. So I'm looking at this as a win-win as far as in regards to both situations as it relates to the dollar, is going to be a net benefit for Bitcoin and crypto, irrespective of whatever price manipulation might happen in a shorter window during that time period, okay? Now, oh no, I got the high school band coming over here. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to go mobile because there's about to be a lot of noise coming in here. I'm at the school about to do my evening walk. So the high school band just came outside, of course. Okay, so that's that. Now, Bitcoin and crypto. The last I checked, guys, Bitcoin's right around that trend line. And I put 19.4 as kind of right where the trend line was. I mentioned that earlier in one of the comments on my community tab post. But the daily candle closes, from my understanding, at 12 UTC, which would be, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. So 2.5 hours. And when I'm talking about this trend line, guys, understand that there is some, you could slightly adjust how you draw the trend line. And okay, are we drawing it at the candles, or are we drawing it at the wicks? Or, you know, you could slightly adjust the way that you draw the trend line or where you place it at, and it could change the way this looks slightly. But I was pretty generous in my opinion, and I moved it out towards the wicks. That would bring the resistance line out more. That would cause the price to have to be further along to actually show some type of a breakout. And what I'm seeing is that Bitcoin went and broke that resistance, tapped on a retest, and it looks like it just retested again. And now it could be at 18.5, but I have no idea where it's at right now. But it could be at 18.5 by the time this video is done, and it could close the daily candle at 18.5, and yes, it would just be a fake breakout, which happens all the time. All right, it's not like the end of the world or anything. But if this thing closes, I would say 18.6 or above, it's going to close the daily candle, in my personal opinion, above that trend line, which I think is a good sign. So, you know, I know today was red, but, and it's not even, guys, look at alts. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening at XRP. Look at what's happening. I mean, I could list off a slew of these different alts. Why are they still holding? Why aren't they crashing? Why are they up 40, 50, 80, 100, 150, 200% over the last 4 months? It's been 4 months, guys. You know, it might have seemed like I was making a big deal out of nothing 2 or 3 months ago, but it's been 4 months. And every time that Bitcoin starts to pull back in the 19s and the 18s, I look at alts and I say, where are they at? How far are they out from their local bottoms? And it is one of the, or I guess it's not just one data point, but the alts as a whole, it is a data point that I am looking at to just kind of tell me where we stand. Because I think that over the last few months, I think that alts have been a better indicator for the general health and direction of the market than Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin's pretty much just stayed, you know, went up, came back down, and it's pretty much just held this general area in this range for the last 4 months, and many alts have done very well. So just keep that in mind. If you were just looking at, you know, content creators' videos and sentiment, you would think that we've just been in free fall for the last 4 months. And The reality of it is that many blue chip alts are up significantly over the last 4 months. They are trending upwards during that time period. All of this could change. They could go to new lows, but let's at least see some of that before we start making doomsday calls every single day. And that shit's going to get cut off too. Those of y'all who do that, you got about a week, okay? And I've been rooting for you. I've said this numerous times. I hope you're right. There's nothing more that I would love to see than $3 ICP. Or I love a Polygon to go to 20 cent. Or, you know, just list off a bunch of other ones. I love Algorand to go down to 10 cent. I love to see all those things. But we need to see them actually go back to their local bottoms first. Okay? And many of them are a pretty good ways away from that. So, no more doomsday calls until alts go back to their local bottoms. It's a new rule for my channel. I'm not allowing my comment section to turn into your own little emotional forum for crash calling every time there's a 3% pullback. Okay? So I'm just being dead serious about that. I swear to God, if somebody does this video, I'm going to fucking block you. Because I'm just tired of the lack of logic and reason, okay? This is not a simpleton. This is not a channel for simpletons. I'm sorry if that like, you know, actually I'm not sorry. I mean, I don't care. I'm tired of the emotional, you know, brain dead reaction every single day. Many blue chip alts are up. My core positions in aggregate are up 30+%. It's like, let's wait until there's actually something that tells us, yes, this is coming. So that's my new criteria, is alts need to go back to their local bottom. That's not too much to ask for. How about let's just wait until we go back to where we already were before we start talking about the apocalypse? All right. Now, I have other things that I want to go over, but that's all that I wanted to cover in this video. That's it. I want to cover the big boom possibility with this global conflict that's happening, because I do think, unfortunately, that is a possibility. I think anything's on the table, guys. And I want to talk about this whole global currency situation as well, because I think that go look at these currencies. Look at the Chinese yuan versus the dollar. Look at the British pound. Look at the euro. Look at the Japanese yen, and then look at the Canadian dollar. Look at just Google right now, Canadian dollar versus US dollar, and look at the chart. And look, but not just look at the chart. Look at the percent loss over the last 6 to 8 months, ever since the Fed started tightening. So, worth looking at. That's all I got, guys. I'm sorry this was all over the place. Probably not very much help at all, but that's it. Take care. Have a good night. I will see you in the next video.